Lyft is making some changes. I'm happy about them. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. With Tonquin, you deliver car parts from auto parts suppliers to car repair shops. What's great about Tonquin is it works just like any other gig app. I like Tonquin personally because it tends to be busy from that 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. time slot. That's when my Uber driving is the most slowest. So Tonquin's great. If you get a chance, go click on the link in the description. Let the team at Tonquin know that Levi at Tip You in the App sent you. Tonquin, check them out. First, let's talk about the news. According to Fast Company, Uber drivers see a dip in their monthly earnings according to a new report. The article discusses a report from Gridwise revealing a 17.1% decline in average gross earnings for Uber drivers in 2023 compared to 2022. This is data based upon 500,000 gig drivers. Now, the problem with this data is that Gridwise doesn't represent all drivers. But it is good data, and I'm starting to feel it. I do feel my earnings are down. Are your earnings down? I probably should do some sort of analysis looking year over year. It's hard because there's so many variable data between promotions, the trips that I took, etc. But I'm going to go ahead and do that analysis and let you know. Rick Hess over at, Education Next, wrote a kind of an interesting article that I thought you should know about. It says, my Uber driver doesn't get the finer points of the Newton teachers strike. So basically teachers in Newton, Connecticut, I think, or Massachusetts, they're going to be on strike and they're demanding a pay raise. Okay. And the Uber driver totally let this guy have it. And this is a neat article. So it's a dialogue between Rick and the Uber driver. And what Hess says is that the union is demanding a 4% annual raises for teachers over 4 years and a 5% raise for classroom aides alongside of a social worker in each classroom. And that's okay, whatever. But the thing is, the Uber driver said, are you really allowed to strike? Like, you're a government employee. And furthermore, it's like you're hurting the kids when you strike. And what's interesting to me about this is the mindset of the Uber driver. Forget the Newton teacher strike, whether it's right or wrong and stuff like that. The Uber driver also could participate in a strike, right? On 14 February, there's a strike. And this Uber driver doesn't seem like the kind of person that's going to be striking. In fact, I don't think most Uber drivers are union striking kind of people. The reason why we do this is we like flexibility, we like freedom, and joining a union, striking, just isn't in the mindset of a gig worker, especially an Uber or a Lyft driver. So I thought that was a funny article. Yeah, go take a look at it. The links are in the bio for both of the news articles. Read through them, check them out. Let's get on to the Lyft story. All right, so the news broke on a couple of different platforms. I saw it over on the Rideshare guy, but basically Lyft is making some changes. And let me tell you, overall, I've been impressed with Lyft. I think David is trying to make Lyft a better platform. I don't drive for Lyft very often. I ride in an Uber town, but I'm going to drive with Lyft more often because I like the app. I like the way it's functioning. I like the reports that I get, and I like that weekly planner. But that's not the real big news. The real big news is this press release. We don't have the details as drivers. It's not in our apps. But let's take a look at it here first. The big one that a lot of drivers care about, I don't, but here it is. They said that drivers get to keep 70% of all the fares after fees. Now, of course, they can hide what goes into the fees. A lot of it's commercial insurance. But yeah, 70%. That means that if at the end of the week you ended up only getting 69% of all the fares after fees, they'll give you as a bonus, as a promotion or whatever it is, that additional 1%. That's not too bad. I don't know. What do you think about that? That's the one that everybody gets caught up in. Honest to goodness truth, I don't care what Lyft or Uber take of the fare. I do from a stance that if drivers or riders pay too much, then they're not going to tip drivers. But the reality is Uber and Lyft have to be profitable companies. If they're not, they're going to go out of business. Then I lose my job. So there's that. All right, here's another interesting one that I liked. It says the EV bonus. It's if you complete 50 rides in an EV every week, you will earn an extra $100 from February 12th through July 1st. Here I am sitting in my Tesla. That's like an extra $100 a week. I could do 50 trips in a week easy. That could be a lot of money for you if you're driving an Uber already has this promotion, but this one's $2 a ride and Uber only gives me $1 a ride. That's definitely a reason to switch right there for me. Going back into that app, they said there's going to be a new earnings summary. This earnings summary is supposed to show more details. I've seen some of the earnings summaries that I already get from Lyft, and I already like them, so it's not too bad. I like it. Keep that up. And the last two kind of go to where I feel Lyft is getting a lot better than Uber. Number one is this commitment to transparency and fairness. I don't think Lyft owes me a lot of information, but I do feel as they give me just a little bit of information, I want more, and not getting all of the information. So a little bit's not enough. So give it all to me. And David is promising some transparency. I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you. And the one that's probably most near and dear to my heart is this idea of the app appeal. There's a button. It says the appeal button on the app. Basically, we all know that drivers can get kicked off of the app pretty quickly, whether it's Lyft or Uber. We know that there are passengers that make false claims. It's wrong. It happens all the time in our industry. And I just feel like this activation appeal button is one more step in the right direction, because you are probably a good driver and I am. And I feel there are a lot of wrongful deactivations. And yeah, so the fact that you can just click a button and maybe appeal this, I don't know how it's going to work out. We have to see what it looks like. But overall, I feel Lyft is trying to make it better for drivers. And that's what I care about. When I created this community, I really just wanted a way for us, you and me, to connect and to bond. And I feel that Lyft is trying to build a community of drivers. I don't know if it's real yet or not. The challenge is I still make more on Uber. So I'm going to probably stick with Uber as opposed to Lyft. But I'm going to drive for Lyft a lot more often. So what do you think? Let's talk about it. Again, this is a channel where I respond to comments. So if you comment, I'm going to come back at you and we're going to talk about this. Please like and subscribe. Go to the Facebook group and join that. Go to the website. Check out Thrive. I've got a course on there. And yeah, I'm cheering for you. Be well, be safe, and I hope that, you get a chance to drive for Lyft. Today's additional sponsor is VOOM. With VOOM Rideshare Insurance, you can get the rideshare insurance that you need. With VOOM, you don't pay for rideshare insurance you don't need. With traditional insurance, you end up paying for your insurance the entire time you have the vehicle. However, when you're on Uber or Lyft, you already have insurance. Insurance is covered by Uber and Lyft. With VOOM, you can actually only pay for the private insurance when you're not on Uber and Lyft. In this way, drivers can save upwards of 60% on their insurance. VOOM is in a lot of states now. Let me see if I get this right. I think they're in Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, and Tennessee. And they might be coming to other states near you. So please click on the link below in the description and let the team at VOOM know that Levi from Tip You in the App sent you.